Chapter 24-22. But Yunjian, this is your true character performance. Chuning said the last sentence very softly. After saying this, Chuning revealed her front teeth and giggled. The candidates around them were all waiting to go on stage for the audition. They were afraid that they would not be able to memorize their lines due to nervousness, so everyone was frantically trying to memorize their lines. Some of them were so nervous that they were trembling all over. Even their teeth and lips were trembling. Chuning said the last sentence very softly. No one around them heard it, but it was heard by Dong Lijia, the T-Rex squad, and the most awesome squad. They were all waiting to hear what kind of character Yunjian had chosen. What true character performance. I think she's confused us with assassins. Assassins are all about killing moves. Does she really think she's a trump card? She should look at herself in the mirror. Dong Lijia snorted disdainfully. She glanced at Yunjian from the corner of her eyes and mocked her in a voice that only the 3 special squads could hear. Who cares if I'm an old woman? I think you haven't even memorized your lines. You should worry about yourself. Chu Xiangnan had always been on Chuning's side. After hearing Dong Lijia's words, he looked at Dong Lijia with disdain and retorted without holding back. Old woman? Who are you calling an old woman? Dong Lijia stood up angrily. I'm talking about whoever answered. Chu Xiangnan shrugged and replied. You. Dong Lijia was angered by Chu Xiangnan's words. She stood up and wanted to hit him. Number 60, please come on stage, the staff member in charge of the order of appearance shouted. The number tag on Dong Lijia's chest was number 60. Dong Lijia gave Yunjian a provocative look before she went on stage. Who didn't know that Dong Lijia had studied acting before she joined the special squad? She was even fortunate enough to receive the guidance of a world-class acting master. Therefore, her acting skills were naturally not a problem. On stage, Dong Lijia used the fake identity that the army had made up for them to introduce herself. Then she began her performance. The role that Dong Lijia chose was a female supporting character that didn't appear much. From his appearance, demeanor, expression and voice, it was impossible to find a single flaw. Even Mr. Milland, who had been pulling a long face and hadn't smiled since the start of the audition, grinned and applauded. He said in English, his highest praise since the start of the audition, "Good." This greatly satisfied Dong Lijia's vanity. After getting off the stage, "Amazing. You're really something." As soon as Dong Lijia got off the stage, a female member of the most awesome team praised Dong Lijia. "It's nothing." Dong Lijia raised her head proudly and glanced at Yunjian with contempt. Yunjian ignored her completely. Number 66, please come to the stage. It was not until the first number was passed that the staff member's voice sounded again, and everyone came back to their senses. Yunjian went on stage. The words, Aidhan, appeared on a big screen on the side, indicating that Yunjian had chosen to audition for the role of Aidhan. When they saw that Yunjian was auditioning for the role of Aidhan, everyone present was stunned. After all, the role of Aidhan was the most difficult of all the roles to audition for. Aidhan appeared more often in a movie, but Aidhan had the least lines. Every time she appeared, she had to use her eyes to convey everything. And her expression from inside out made people feel that she was a cold-blooded killer. 2 people had already tried to audition for Aidhan. The lines were the same. The scene was a battlefield filled with flames and smoke. Aidhan stepped on a large pile of corpses, raised her slightly lowered head slowly, and said to her subordinates, "Kill them all." The 2 people who auditioned for Aidhan didn't feel anything at all. Now that Yunjian was on stage, everyone was inevitably curious. At that moment, Yunjian was already standing in front of the judges. Everyone thought that Yunjian would give a simple self-introduction, but who knew that Yunjian would go on stage with her head lowered, making people feel that she was a little afraid. But when Yunjian walked to the center of the stage, her somewhat fearful aura changed. Her red arc was slightly raised as if she was a killer in the middle of a bloody massacre. She slowly raised her sharp eyes. That pair of red, bloodshot eyes made all the judges and audience tense up in fright. That playful half-smile made everyone's hair stand on end. At this moment, the girl suddenly smoothed out that playful half-smile. She raised her head like a king as if she was stepping on thousands of skeletons. That simple and ordinary word that made people's hearts skip a beat stood out. Kill them all. Please remember the domain name of this book. Mobile reading website. Only Yunjian, Dong Lijia, and a girl from the T-Rex squad named Wei Yuko were chosen. Yunjian, Dong Lijia and Wei Yuko were all tall and beautiful. They also had curvy figures and performed very well in the audition. Therefore, it wasn't surprising that they were chosen. As for the others, of course, it was impossible for them to be sent back to China. Lu Qing had already thought of a countermeasure. The members of the 3 squads who weren't chosen were all sent to Mr. Milan's crew and became crew members. Before they set off, Lu Qing called the members of the 3 squads together. The success of this mission depends on the 3 of you who are chosen. I admit that you're quite capable as killing God, but the education you received isn't as good as Wei Yuka and Dong Lijie who came back from overseas. Therefore you have to follow their arrangements. Also, your target is the big investor of this big movie. All the information is here. This big investor is lustful, and you have to gain his trust even if you have to sacrifice your looks. Also, you have to get evidence of his drug trafficking. Top reading website, M. Chapter 24-24. Lu Cheng's words carried a tone that did not allow anyone to refute or refuse. It was not uncommon for female spies to sacrifice their bodies to complete missions. This was because when a man was immersed in a woman's fragrance, it was the easiest for a woman to get information out of him. Not to mention a lecherous person like that big investor. This big investor had infiltrated almost the entire entertainment industry. Moreover, this big investor was the culprit behind the drug trafficking that led the young girls to their downfall. Female spies were willing to sell their bodies to complete missions like this, even if their sacrifice was not known to the world. There were many such selfless contributions. However, there were no officers like Lu Cheng who directly asked Yun Jian and the other 2 selected girls to complete the mission even if they had to sell their bodies and sacrifice their bodies. Usually, it was voluntary and never forced. Here, it must be mentioned that the soldiers and spies who sacrificed themselves for the country were the greatest beings in the world. They might not be as dazzling as the celebrities in the entertainment industry, or they might not have the same beautiful appearance as the celebrities in the entertainment industry. However, without them, the ground under your feet would be a smoky battlefield, not to mention the celebrities in the entertainment industry. During times of war, who cared whether you were good-looking or not? Only those who could survive were kings. Officer Lu, must we sell our bodies? Can we use other methods to complete the mission? After hearing Lu Cheng's last sentence, even Dong Lijie fell silent. She hesitated for a long time before stammering out what she wanted to say. Unless you have the ability to earn the trust of this big investor without selling your body, and obtain evidence of his drug trafficking. Lu Cheng said without allowing anyone to refute. To Lu Cheng, being able to complete the mission was the most important thing. In this aspect he was completely different from Gu Junjian and the other officers. If it were other officers, they would definitely let the members of the 3 teams complete the mission as much as possible while ensuring their own safety. Yes, Officer Lu, I will definitely obey and complete the mission. Dong Lijie clenched her fists. A trace of tears welled up in the corner of her eyes, but she said something against her will. Although Dong Lijie had targeted Yun Jian before, she was only a woman after all. Choosing to give up one's innocence to complete a mission was a devastating blow to anyone. Alright, other than the 3 of them who passed the audition, the rest of you will assist the 3 of them from the side. After the 3 of them join the cast tomorrow, you will be working with them as crew members. After Lu Cheng finished speaking, he turned around and left without waiting for anyone to react. Chapter 24-30. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation, page 1/1. At this point, Mo Nan himself was stunned for a moment. One could tell a person's talent from their bones. Anyone who knew the ropes would be able to tell if a person was suitable for martial arts. As the saying went, a person's success was determined by their hard work. But before that, one could not forget one thing. Hard work could turn a useless person into a genius. But when a group of hard-working geniuses were competing to see who was stronger, talent would determine whether a person could shake off those hard-working geniuses and climb to the throne of the strongest. Not only did Mo Nan realize Yun Jian's talent from her bones, but he could also tell that she was definitely a martial artist. And to be able to train her bones to such an extent, she must have been an assassin. An assassin or a secret agent. How old is she? She's still in school, isn't she? Shermifan would never believe that Yun Jian was such a terrifying presence. Especially when she heard Mo Nan's last sentence, I don't think I have the right to teach you anything. Shermifan was not the only one who was shocked. Even Lu Junyu, Dong Lijie, Wei Yuka, and the members of the other 3 teams, including Mr. Milland who was a heavy personality on the set, were all stunned. Everyone's emotions rose to the highest point in an instant. No wonder you acted so well during the audition. Could it be that you are a professional assassin? Mr. Milland exclaimed to Yun Jian in front of everyone. The exclamation piqued everyone's interest, but to the members of the three teams, especially Dong Lijia and her team, they felt like strangling Yun Jian to death. That big investor was a shrewd person. Although Yun Jian did not reveal her identity as a spy, there was no difference between revealing her strength and revealing her identity as a spy. She must be crazy. Other than professional assassins or secret agents, I think people who learn martial arts should also have such a unique bone structure. It's an honor to meet you, Mr. Assassin. My name is Luo Yi, the 39th generation of martial arts from Z country. Yun Jian said in front of everyone when everyone thought that she was related to the assassin. Luo Yi was a fake identity that the army made up for Yun Jian. As for the 39th generation of martial arts from Z country, this identity was also made up by Yun Jian. Haha, so you are the martial arts heir from Z country. No wonder you have such a unique bone structure. But I think you don't need my guidance with your strength. Mr. Milland, this mission is cancelled. Emonan, goodbye. After hearing Yun Jian's words, Emonan cupped his fist in Yun Jian translation, Emo Yun Jian and left. At this moment, the crowd from the crowd realized that Yun Jian was not a professional assassin or secret agent. Yun Jian's about Yun Jian was his translation about was is? Is? But a professional assassin and a martial arts heir gave people a feeling that they were not on the same level. One killed people as a profession, the other did not kill people. The farce ended just like that. In the warehouse of the crew, Dong Lijia called Yun Jian here on behalf of the members of the most awesome team. She gave Yun Jian a harsh scolding, saying that she could not complete the mission with such a high profile. But Yun Jian was too lazy to listen to half of it. She turned and left the warehouse. Just as Yun Jian left the warehouse of the crew, a young girl walked towards her. The young girl lowered her head, thinking about something. When she walked towards Yun Jian, she almost bumped into Yun Jian. Yun Jian avoided her. The young girl steadied herself and looked up at Yun Jian with trembling hands. I'm sorry, but when she looked up, the young girl was stunned. Translator, Atlas Studios Editor, Atlas Studios. I didn't see any rats. You must have seen wrongly. Yun Jian glanced sideways at Shermifin. She reached out to take a set of clothes from the warehouse, turned around and left. Shermifin led people to search the warehouse but couldn't find anyone. In the end, she could only leave reluctantly. Yiji, who had been running out of the warehouse, felt her heart beating wildly. Just now, Yun Jian told her that someone had brought people to catch the two of them for a private meeting. Yun Jian also said that she had to stay on set and asked her to go back to her original place. After Yun Jian was done with her work, she would take her away. Yiji ran all the way out of the warehouse and kept looking behind her. As she stared and stared, even Yiji herself did not notice that she had accidentally bumped into a sturdy chest. Yiji was so scared that her face turned green. Just as she was about to say sorry, she saw a tall man wearing a ghost mask. It's you? I found her. Are you here to see her? I'll take you to her. When Yiji saw him, she happily reached out to pull the tall man wearing the ghost mask. The man was 183 meters tall. Yiji's height only reached his shoulders. The tall man wearing the ghost mask was the Yuan Li that Yiji mentioned. He was the man who told Yiji the truth that Yun Jian didn't know. Yiji thought that Yuan Li was here to see Yun Jian, so she reached out to pull him and wanted to go back to Yun Jian. Just as she grabbed Yuan Xian's hand and was about to bring him to Yun Jian, Yuan Xian, who was wearing a ghost mask, suddenly spoke. His mellow voice was addictive. I'm here to see you. Please remember the domain name of this book. Mobile reading website. Chapter 2435. Before Yuan Lin could finish his sentence, Yiji had already run away impatiently. Yuan Lin was wearing a ghost mask, revealing only a pair of dark eyes. Yuan Lin's dark eyes flashed when he saw Yiji run away before he could finish his sentence. But nothing happened in the end. He turned around and left as if he had never been there. Yun Jian frowned slightly when she saw the address on the envelope. There was only a piece of white paper in the envelope. An address was written on the white paper, and a line of strong handwriting was written on the address. Friend or foe? Which god and immortal lord, please come to this place. Here, you can find the mystery of why the mysterious man has been targeting you for thousands of years. These few sentences were written with a fountain pen. These few words were written with great force. It could be seen that the person who wrote these few sentences was very strong. Although the person did not directly state his identity, it could be seen from the words friend or foe, that this person was not on the mysterious man's side. Moreover, the address he wrote in the letter was the same as the place where Yun Jian and Ce had found out about the series of events that happened thousands of years ago on the Shinming continent and the Wanwan continent. Therefore, it could be ruled out that this person was not on the mysterious man's side. If it was the mysterious man, he would not have passed on such important information to them. Yun Jian took the envelope and burned it with a lighter. I have to stay here for a while. You go back to your original place first. I'll take you away when I'm done, Yun Jian said to Yiji. Yes. Yiji nodded vigorously at Yun Jian. Yiji originally trusted Yuan Lin very much, but Yun Jian appeared. Yun Jian treated her better than Yuan Lin. Yiji ran out excitedly after hearing Yun Jian's words. Yun Jian looked at Yiji's departing figure and smiled slightly. The mystery of why the mysterious man had been targeting her and Ce for thousands of years was finally going to be solved. Yun Jian and Yiji had just returned to the set after meeting each other in the crew's washroom. Isn't she just a little girl that Sister Lu bought? I can't deal with others, but you think I can't deal with you? A sharp female voice suddenly sounded. In the next second, a scream spread through the sky. What Yun Jian saw was Shermifan stabbing a silver needle into Yiji's body in front of everyone. Yiji was so scared that she shrank back. Tears welled up in her eyes. She wanted to escape, but Shermifan caught her and stabbed her. Needless to say, Shermifan's background was very big. Since she dared to do this in front of everyone, she must be confident that no one would dare to expose her scandal. The reason Shermifan targeted Yiji was purely because she had failed to catch Yun Jian and Yiji previously. After a while, the leader of the most awesome squad, Zhuao, and a few other members stood in front of Yun Jian. You've gotten the chance to meet the target tonight? The last time you went to the office with Mr. Milland, you wanted Mr. Milland to agree to this? Dong Lijia was the first to ask. Yun Jian ignored her and turned to leave. Slashing God, no matter what you're doing, please remember our goal. You'll only attract our target's attention if you keep being so flamboyant. Once we've caught the attention of our target, the chances of us completing the mission will become smaller and smaller. Are you sure you're not here to hinder our mission? Translator, Atlas Studios Editor, Atlas Studios. They came at the sound of the commotion. Zhu Jian suddenly hugged his head and squatted down in pain. He had to accept the painful reality no matter how unwilling he was. Just as everyone lowered their heads in silence, indescribably sorrowful, thinking that this was an irreversible situation, a woman's voice rang. Sister Jian. Everyone turned to look at the voice, only to see a curvaceous woman in a red cheongsam appearing before them. It was none other than New Cruise's CEO, Alluring Demon. Alluring Demon's appearance surprised everyone. Before they could react, however, Yun Jian took off her black fur coat and tossed it aside. Under the coat was a special agent's outfit for a mission. Yun Jian drew her pistol from the holster at her waist and spun it around before holding it in her hand. Suddenly, she drew a red arc and spoke to Alluring Demon in front of everyone, igniting their hope. F***CKU go? Please remember the domain name of this book. The door of the hotel where Galvin and Dong Lijia were staying was right in front of them, but they couldn't get close because of the group of bodyguards. Lu said Luyu. At that moment, everyone hid in the corner. Everyone knew that Galvin's bodyguards were all underground assassins. They were not as act translation just as Luyu spoke up, and everyone thought that even if they wanted to save her, they would be powerless to do so. Yun Jian suddenly made a signal to Raccoon and several members of the assassination group in front of everyone. Raccoon and the members of the assassination group took the order and left by the elevator. Luyu and several members of the most awesome squad except Zhuao thought Raccoon and the members of the assassination group would help. Because only then would they have a little chance of winning. But who would have thought that Yun Jian would let them go? Just when everyone thought that Yun Jian was going to give up on the rescue because she was outnumbered and could not defeat the group of bodyguards and assassins, Yun Jian suddenly held up the HK pistol. MP7 submachine gun on her back. Then she took out a blade in front of everyone present and bit it in her mouth. Then she suddenly rolled in front of the group of Galvin's bodyguards, who were professional assassins. The next second, in front of everyone, she did something that made everyone's eyeballs pop out. Translator, Henyi Translations Editor, Henyi Translations.